I'm pleased to have with us in this segment Alex Zegueira, who is the headmaster at St. John's High School. Welcome, Alex.
Thanks, Tim. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Before we came on air, we were talking with Nicole DiCello, who is from Bedlam Books, a new chamber member business and a relatively new business to Worcester. And we were talking about the show, and she commented that it was kind of education-based, and she was absolutely right.
Yeah, no, I think when you talk about economic development, I think it all starts with the way we're educating and sort of creating a cultural and educational hub here in Central Mass, and it's been remarkable to see the continued growth, not just in terms of the corporate sector and the business world, but also the educational opportunities for our kids.
You know, as the Central Mass economy has really diversified over the last 30 plus years, the biggest employers are healthcare, higher ed, financial services, manufacturing, but certainly in that education world, there's higher ed, but then we also have a number of important private high schools and prep schools in the area, and St. John's is one of those anchors with a great tradition.
Yeah, no, we're extremely proud, obviously, of our history and tradition here in Central Mass, having started in 1898 on Temple Street in Worcester, and moved over to Shrewsbury in the early 60s, and we're extremely blessed with a community of alumni and families that support St. John's, and we're very, very proud of the education that we continue to deliver to young men here in Central Massachusetts. And I think it's an education that's evolved, and I think when you look at over the last 20 and 30 years, the school has really invested in the changing educational landscape that our young men are facing. And so, St. John's today in 2018 is really ahead of the curve.
And in the interest of full disclosure, I am an alum, have a nephew there. My father and brothers, several of my brothers are graduates, so proud St. John's alums. But we talk about higher ed needs to adapt to meet the needs of students and families, but also the workforce. K through 12, same conversation. At the high school level, you have that same conversation. And so some people might kind of think of St. John's as kind of that traditional, maybe high school liberal arts prep kind of piece. But I had a chance to visit last year with some of the new programs that you've put there, both part of the academic curriculum, but also the after-school offerings for students, and STEM, the arts. Maybe you could talk about some of those new investments.
Sure. I think the way we see education is it definitely trickles down from higher ed. I mean, we're responding, we're in constant conversation with higher ed partners, the colleges and universities, where we send our students and asking them the question, how well prepared are our students to be successful? Because as part of our mission as a school, we want our young men to be successful in college and beyond. And I think over the last couple of years, I'm starting my third year now as headmaster at St. John's, and over the last couple of years, we've really dug into what the student experience is like at the school. And obviously, the academic piece is the reason why we exist. We're there to fully form our young guys. The holistic education at St. John's really is, I think, unparalleled.
Right.
And so when you look at the investments the school's made in terms of program, it's really meeting our guys, meeting our young men where they are and what they need from us. So last fall, we opened up an academic center named after the Gregory family, great St. John's family who have given a lot of years and a lot of support to the school, both on faculty and staff. And that's a place where students can really come in, whether you're a high flying, we have so many AP scholars and high achieving students, but also we have students that, struggle and in that struggle find
strength.
Need a
little extra motivation.
A little extra motivation.
Count myself
I'm not sure,
So
the academic center is an important place where these young men can get support. It's drop in, kids are assigned there. We have faculty, we have students, we have 100 peer tutors that work with our students. But then also, and I think one of the places that you visited was our new makerspace for engineering and robotics. So it was a recognition on our part as we started our engineering program about 7 or 8 years ago. Now we have over 80 seniors taking an intro to engineering class. They needed a lab in the same way that our chemistry students or our biology students or our physics students have their own lab. And we've created this state-of-the-art space that you've seen, that you remarked to me is one of the best that you've seen. And in a curriculum that really aligns with places like WPI and MIT, so that our guys are ready to go when they hit those places.
It's having those first-class academic spaces kind of throughout the campus, a lot different than some of the experience that maybe my dad had at St. John's or even us, and we had a really nice experience. Just the other day, Steve Cully, who works for our sister organization, Discover Central Mass, which is the travel and tourism entity for the region. We share space with them, a separate organization. He had visited out at St. John's, and this is someone who coached at Holy Cross, been in the coaching industry, NFL tryout, played in NFL Europe, and he came blown away with St. John's facilities. And the reason he was out there is, as we try to bring conventions and tournaments and events to Central Mass, some of the facilities that can maybe host them during off season, and St. John's is a part of that mix. But why don't you talk about some big news and some exciting investments on the academic athletic side?
Absolutely. I mean, I think when you look at over the last couple of decades, we've done a tremendous amount of investment in the academic space, the STEM space, our science space. Into the arts. We have a beautiful state-of-the-art theater that's 3 years old, the Robert R. J. Center for Performing Arts. And all of those places are places where our students can thrive and excel and be great students, great artists, great musicians, whatever their passion lies, wherever their passion lies. And then just this fall, I think our board recognized and the school recognized that, ironically, because St. John's is known for its rigorous academics, but also its high caliber athletic program, our athletic facilities were not on par with where we wanted to be, and frankly, the level of excellence that we expect from our student athletes and from our coaches. So as a school, and thanks to the generosity of a bunch of folks who continue to support St. John's, we were able to put in 2 brand new turf fields, which we see tremendous benefit, not just for our St. John's student athletes, but also for our students who are eager to participate in intramurals, participate to play pickup. Now there's field space available for them pretty much year round. But we also have been talking with folks about using those fields to benefit the community.
Right.
So we're excited by that. Yeah.
And we have a couple of minutes left, but Alex, I want to talk about this because I commend you for your leadership and your vision on it. But you helped take the Nativity School to a whole new level, and that's targeting young men from kind of economically disadvantaged families and giving them that extra academic support, emotional, and kind of help them find pathways to college and things. One of the focuses you brought to St. John's is try to diversify, engage with the community in new and different ways, and change some of the perception maybe that this is a school where all white, Irish, Italian kids went. And as one of those, and as a St. John's, but as a Worcester resident and an alum, it's really important we understand the demographic changes that are coming and making sure that the young people today who might be from Ghana or from Puerto Rico or something have that same opportunity to use St. John's as a stepladder to economic opportunity and educational excellence.
Yeah, and I can't take full credit for it. I mean, honestly, it was really work that started well before I arrived at St. John's. But in particular, Michael Welch was really, my predecessor, was very passionate about making sure that St. John's reflected Worcester County, in central Massachusetts. And, we want to make sure that students and families understand that St. John's, first and foremost, is a welcoming place. It's been our mission. It's been part of our mission since our founding. I say, we're a school that when we were in Worcester, we served kids from 3-decker houses, from children of immigrants. And while the countries of origin have changed, our commitment to those families, our commitment to the young men of central Massachusetts hasn't changed, regardless of where you come from. And you see it in our freshman class, the class of 2022, the most diverse class we've ever had, with 25% students of color. And that's come through a large commitment by our donors to support the school and make sure that we have the funds available, but also, it's been part of our DNA since our founding. So we're excited.
You got an open house coming up?
We do. So we had a great one a couple weeks ago, or last week, and we're eager to welcome folks on October 16th to St. John's. It's an evening open house that starts at 6 p.m., but it's a great way to get a sense of the program, and it's an open house that you kind of do at your own pace, and we're excited to do that. And then we have our placement exam on October 27th, which is a Saturday. So you can find all that information on the St. John's website,
which is
stjohnshigh.org.
stjohnshigh.org.
All one word.
Good. Yeah. Well, Alex, thanks. I'm glad you could join us and look forward to having you back.
Great, Tim. I appreciate the invite. Yeah, absolutely. Good to see you.